Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for taking time out of your day to join our webinar. This is Madeleine Kanoza speaking. I am the Product Marketing Manager here at Maropost, and I'm thrilled to speak with all of you today about all things SMS marketing. Before we get started, I did want to run through some housekeeping items. The presentation will be around 20 to 25 minutes with some dedicated time at the end for a Q&A session. Everybody is automatically on mute, so questions can be submitted at any point through the Q&A chat button at the bottom of the right hand of your screen. Submitted questions will only be seen by me, and I'll try my best to answer all questions live today. But if we run out of time, I will be sure to follow up with all submitted questions and answers in a follow-up email. Today's webinar will also be recorded and circulated via the same email for your future reference. So now, with all of that out of the way, let's dive into why SMS is the best marketing channel with the highest ROI. So today's agenda, I've introduced myself and I'm looking forward to get to know all of you a bit better. I will do so by running a poll very soon. After that, we will dive into why SMS is the MVP of mobile marketing and some interesting industry stats we're seeing from this channel, current state, followed by how to build your SMS lists with user compliance and keeping in mind how to keep all the user compliance regulations with the various types of SMS messaging. Then we'll dive into a demo of Maropost SMS features and functionalities, including our up and coming features for mobile keywords. And then wrap it up with some best practices for your marketing campaigns and a chance to answer any questions that are being submitted. So before I get started, I would love to poll our audience to get a better understanding of where you're all at with your own SMS marketing journey. I'm going to put a poll live right now and launching it. And I would love to hear what best describes where you and your team are at with your SMS marketing journey. So some of the options here are that you have SMS and you're actively using it as your marketing strategy. You have it, but you aren't using it as much as you would like. You don't have SMS, but it's something that you're looking forward to launching this year. Or you don't have SMS, but you're just here to pique some interest and learn a bit more about it. We have some answers in, almost all. I'll give 10 more seconds and we can launch this poll and see where everyone's at. Okay, I'm gonna end the poll now and share the results. So it seems like majority of you are already actively using your SMS marketing strategy, but it seems like we also have some people who are just getting started or looking to get started, which is awesome because we have some tips today to help you advance with your existing SMS strategy, but also some easy ways to dip your toes into this new channel. So let's dive into why SMS is the MVP of mobile marketing. I'm sure all of you are here today because you've heard of some success with SMS strategies, and we would love to share with you some insights that we're seeing within the industry. So here are some of the mobile marketing performance statistics. Something interesting about SMS as a channel is that 90% of all SMS messages are opened within the first 3 minutes of being received. 19% of links that are included in SMS text messages are clicked. 45% of SMS messages are responded to. And best of all, SMS requires a minimal design, copy, and content. And you'll see how easy it is to set up and send an SMS campaign in today's demo portion of the webinar. Historically, introducing mobile marketing has really burdened marketing teams through creating more work, such as having to create mobile-friendly assets, or adding to your never-ending tech stack, or opening up another integration. But the good news is SMS really isn't like that. When we compare SMS to email performance, it's really obvious that the return is far greater with SMS, as we see 5 times higher open rates and 7 times higher click-through rates. Moreover, through customer engagement and feedback, we're noticing that there's a preference for SMS by audience members, subscribers, and customers. In today's day and age, we're all glued to our mobile phones. I know right now I have mine right next to me, and I'm sure a majority of you do too. Or we'll probably even check your phone at least once during this presentation. That's because the average person checks their SMS messages every 15 minutes. Also, SMS enables two-way communications without the redirects or extra clicks to pages of surveys. Instead, all communications and communication history is stored in one ongoing chat. Therefore, SMS happens to feel more personal in nature to the recipient. You're also expanding your channels of communications and providing your customers with more options. And there's no doubt that some of your customers will prefer SMS to email. We all know those people who love to keep a really tidy inbox and reduce the amount of emails that are coming in. So with introducing SMS as an option for communication to your audience, you have the opportunity to salvage some email unsubscribers and convert them into SMS subscribers instead. Now that we all agree that SMS is a super beneficial marketing channel, let's review some great examples of how various organizations are leveraging SMS marketing today. Hopefully, these examples can serve as inspiration for how your team could get started or get running with SMS as part of your marketing strategy. Some of the most common examples we're seeing with SMS within the industries today are use cases such as general promotions, so letting customers know that newsletters are out there or there's sales or upcoming deals. We're also seeing SMS used to execute text to win or text to enter or text for promo code type of contests and promotions. SMS is also now a channel to let audiences and customers know when there is a restock or when a product has become available, making it really easy for your team to manage inventory and gather information about what the interest is for a certain product if you're in the e-commerce business. SMS is an easy way to execute surveys and polls, as well as to do customer journey check-ins. So here I have some live examples of each one of these use cases. Here we can see Walmart using SMS to do those general promotions. They're using a form where customers can add in their phone number to their account. And through this phone number, they will get updates on when Walmart has their rollbacks or their weekly ad and weekly flyer being announced. They're also using SMS for order updates, which is more of a transactional nature. Here's a really interesting example as well. We're seeing Gap and Old Navy using text for promo codes. As you can see in this banner here where it says sign up and get text alerts to get $5 off. Text in the word prize. So this is an example of using a mobile keyword to run a promotional campaign. But additionally, it's a really easy way for Old Navy to grow and build their SMS list because in this little small context down here with terms and conditions, any customer who texts in this prize is also signing up for SMS promotional content. The next example I have is using text for availability or inventory notifications. This example is Shoppers Drug Mart, which is the largest pharmacy here in Canada. And they're executing text for availability signups using a form here where they have the opt-in box. We also can execute a text for notification using mobile keywords, which I would love to show you as an example. But it's a great use case to, once again, inform your customers, so give them something, but also get a phone number and a way to add them to your SMS marketing channel. Customer surveys and polls. If you are using an existing survey tool that's mobile friendly, great. You can always include a little short link within the SMS channel or communication itself. But alternatively, to reduce the amount of clicks, that barrier of clicking to open into a new browser, you can actually leverage mobile keywords within an SMS message or campaign to actually just execute the survey within the conversation itself, which gives some nice context and history and is a bit easier for the recipient. Lastly, we can obviously use SMS for customer journey check-in. This is more transactional in nature and does require the use of setting up via a SMS API. So it does require some technical lift on your end and some access to developers, but it's definitely something that we're starting to see more and more throughout different industries and different use cases. So things like order confirmations or order receipts, as well as shipping notifications and updates. So once again, I would love to learn a little bit more about our audience and find out which example or SMS strategy would be the most useful for your team. So I'm going to run a second poll here and launching the poll. Would love to understand what you guys are hoping to learn a bit more about and tailor some communication and some how-to information in our follow-up email with best practices around these use cases. So I'll let this poll run for a few more seconds and we'll see some responses. Okay. So I'm going to share the results here. It seems like majority of our audience here is just hoping to use SMS for some general SMS marketing notifications. That's awesome. And we will definitely be sure to show you how to accomplish this in our demo portion. So one last topic I want to touch on before we dive into the demo is user compliance regulations and how to build your SMS list while meeting compliance standards. Time and time again, we hear that this is a big barrier for customers to get started with SMS marketing as a channel. Like, how do I build this list? What compliance do I have to meet? How hard is it regulated? And how do I overcome this challenge? So I'm really happy to jump into how you can overcome this barrier and get started with your SMS lists. So there are 3 different forms of SMS communication with different consent requirements. The first message type is conversational, which just means that the customer has initiated the messaging. This is most often occurs through the use of mobile keyword campaigns and is the point of least friction when acquiring an SMS subscriber, as consent is automatically implied since they messaged you first. That being said, we do have some best practices for the automated responses to a submitted mobile keyword, such as this example given here, subscribe, on the next slide that we will go over in detail. The next message type is transactional, and this messaging is similar to transactional email messaging, where the content is update-oriented in nature and is triggered by a customer event. These messages still require customer consent, and they need a place for the customer to be able to manage these notifications and opt out at any point in time. Lastly, we also have the promotional messaging, which seems to be the use case that most attendees here today are to learn about. And this is things like check out our blowout sale, like ends tomorrow, or the example of Walmart updating customers, letting them know when their rollbacks are happening. So in this case, written permission needs to be expressed and required before a consumer can receive a text message. So this means that you need to have the opt-in checkbox with all of your terms and conditions and privacy regulations that the customer has signed off on before you can even message them. That being said, here are some best practices that we suggest when using mobile keywords, because mobile keywords is the point of least friction in terms of regulating compliance as well as gaining SMS list users. We definitely suggest that you create a global unsubscribe such as stop. And we also suggest that you create a mobile keyword for help or some sort of word to indicate help. Obviously, if a customer is indicating help, the option or automated response to that help message should be a way in which the customer can get in contact with you outside of SMS, because clearly it's a struggle for them. So if a customer texts help, the automated message to show up should be something like an email where they can contact your help or support center, and or a telephone call where they can talk to an agent live and figure out what's going on with these SMS subscriptions. For all mobile keywords, you always include an auto-generated follow-up message. Best practices state that this should include your business name and description, that help instruction option again, the opt-out instruction, as well as disclosure that messages will be reoccurring and frequent. If you have a standard frequency, definitely include it, but if not, just let them know that more will be coming, and language associated about fees or charges. If you have yet to start with SMS messaging, but it's something that you're looking forward to doing in the future, and you have existing customer acquisition forms, whether it be for emails or other forms of your CRM, and as part of that form, customers are submitting their phone number, we strongly suggest that put in now, after this webinar today, go add the opt-in form for SMS messaging to that form, because It will give you a heads up and a head start with a SMS user base when you're ready, or if you're ready to get started with SMS as a marketing channel. So now I'd love to jump into the demo portion of today's webinar with the Maropost platform. I want to demo some of our SMS features and functionalities, such as SMS lists, mobile keywords, and how to send SMS campaigns. So let me jump into the Maropost platform today. I'm going to run through the example of using a text to enter competition or a text to enter contest to grow and gain my SMS lists. So the first thing that I'm going to do is we're going to start with running a Valentine's Day text to enter gift basket giveaway as a strategy to build our SMS user base. As previously mentioned, mobile keyword campaigns are a no fuss and passive way to gain SMS subscribers. The first way I'm going to do to set up this campaign would be to create an SMS list. So I'm going to go into my audience tab and go down to SMS contacts. This list will be the list of subscribers that are entering into my contest and opting into my future promotional messages. So I'm just going to create a new list and call it Valentine's Competition. Once my SMS list is created, the next thing I'm going to do is create my mobile keywords. So this is the mobile keyword index page. Here you see all of my keywords that I have previously created, as well as their status as to whether they're active or inactive. I'll go into more detail as to what does an active and inactive status mean and how does that impact your customers' communication using that mobile keyword. And next here I have listed how many times this mobile keyword has been used in campaigns. I want to clarify here, this is how many times a mobile keyword has been used in a SMS campaign. We would obviously love and suggest that you would cross-promote, your mobile keywords campaigns in your email campaigns as well. But this counter is specific for how many times it's been used in another SMS campaign. Next, we have a replies counter. As you can see, this replies counter isn't clickable for me to be able to view the number of contacts or the contacts that have replied. The idea being that contacts that have replied in terms to execute that action of subscribing would be in my contacts SMS list that I created earlier. There could be a discrepancy between the number of replies and the subscribers in my audience, and this could happen because of two ways. Number one, I could have one contact that has subscribed but has texted the keyword multiple times. We will still count that keyword every time they text it in, but the action will still just be one contact added to the subscription list. The second would be customers can, text in a keyword to subscribe to a list, but then also use a global unsubscribe like stop. Therefore, we'll see their count for when they opted in, but they may not be on the associated contact list because they have opted out. We have created that and updated that, which is pretty self-explanatory. And then under the actions button, we have edit and duplicate. Edit will let you edit all the associated forms to this keyword, which will make more sense when we go to jump in to add new. And the duplicate option, basically what a duplicate is allows you to recreate a new keyword because keywords have to be unique within an account. But it duplicates the associated action to that new keyword as well as the follow-up response message. So using my Valentine's contest example, I'm going to make a keyword that would be Valentine. And I'm going to make the action that anyone who is texting in this keyword Valentine is going to be subscribed to my Valentine's Day competition. As mentioned, I want to create an automated message letting customers know that they have successfully entered. So I have pre-created one here that follows our best practices guidelines, informing customers of the terms and conditions of the contest, as well as how they can get help or unsubscribe. Some other features here is that you can leverage keywords within this automated message, or you can also use contact tags here. I'm going to activate this keyword and hit save. Now my Valentine's keyword is ready for me to cross promote to get this campaign up and running. I may want to do what Old Navy did and put it on my website, send it out in emails, webpage, landing pages, mention it in webinars, throw it in a newsletter or a blog, flyers and prints if everyone is still doing that. And or if you have a brick and mortar store that's operating under these pandemic conditions, you could also even promote it within the store. As you can see within this Valentine's Day promotion, I'm planning on running this until February 13th, at which point the competition stops. And then I would select a winner and announce it the following day. So what I would do is on February 13th, I would want to deactivate this keyword. What happens then if a customer texts in the Valentine's word on the 14th or after it's inactive is that they're going to get an invalid response message. This invalid response message is global, so any misspelled or inactive keywords that are sent in will receive the same message. Once again, we definitely suggest putting in your help and stop to unsubscribed options. So now let's jump into how I would send an SMS campaign by going into campaigns and selecting SMS campaigns. Using the example or continuing with the example of my Valentine's Day gift basket promotion, I'm going to want to compose my message. Let's say that this time I'm letting all of my customers know that they didn't win after I've selected a winner and contacted them. So it could be like a Valentine's Day letdown. And I have written up my response here, letting them know better luck next time, they haven't won, but also giving them a promo code for the next time that they wanted to check out. You can write many messages in here. So this is just an example to let them know that they haven't won. But let's say that when I was running this Valentine's Day competition, I already had an existing SMS user base. I could have also let them know, hey, subscriber, we're running a competition, text, and then I would include the keyword text Valentine to enter and learn more. I can always see the rendering of the preview of my message, but I can also test this myself by adding it in to a test number and hitting send test and validating that looks right on my own phone. Next, I would select my Valentine's Day competition customers who have entered, obviously removing the selected winner, and schedule my campaign to go out on the 14th at 12:15. Because there's no one who is currently in this Valentine's Day competition, it will be not able to schedule yet, but once I do have an active subscriber, I would be able to. Okay, great. So I hope that demo was helpful, and I would be happy to send out more how-tos and how to run these various examples of campaigns that we've seen within our Maropost platform in our follow-up email. So let's leave off with some final best practices overall. So when running your SMS marketing campaigns, obviously our number one best practice is to follow the compliance guidelines. I think that's pretty obvious. The next is to build a mobile-friendly ecosystem. If you're going to be running SMS campaigns and sending out content and surveys and all of this fun stuff to engage with your customers in a mobile setting, ensure that all of your other marketing assets and material are also mobile friendly so that you're creating a seamless mobile experience for all of your customers. My next piece of advice is to keep it simple. As you've seen, setting up and creating and sending SMS messages is super simple. And that's the beauty of SMS, and one of the reasons why we're seeing customers and audience members really, really enjoy it. No one likes to have paragraphs to read through or short novels, just quick snippets of information to keep your audience informed and excited about what's going on. Also, no one loves a double texter, so make sure that your frequency is often enough so that they're keeping track, but not often enough to annoy them. Lastly, timing is everything. So with SMS, we all know that our mobile phones are stuck by our side 24 hours a day. So we want to be respectful of messaging people during times when they might be asleep, or it's dinner time and everyone likes their downtime. So just make sure that you're using time frames and time windows that make sense to your audience and are respecting their personal time. With all this being said, don't be afraid to dive in. SMS is a great channel. It takes very little effort for your team to get started. And also you'll be seeing the return very, very quickly if you follow some of the best practices and examples within today's webinar. Okay, so now we're ready to take on any of the submitted questions. I'll give everyone a moment to ask any outstanding questions that they have. If you're sticking around for the Q&A, that's absolutely great. If you're not, before dropping off, there is a quick 2-question survey that really helps me know how I did today and what we can do in the future to continue to make these webinars to best serve you. So I will give everyone a moment to take some time and submit their questions now if they have any. Okay, we have a couple of questions coming in now. The first one is, do you have an API for SMS? So yes, we do have an API for SMS, and this would allow our customers to achieve more transactional type messages. Just as a warning, in order to achieve this, you would need dev resources on your side. We have some more questions coming in. Would I be able to send some sort of drip campaigns? This is a great question, and I'm seeing multiple as, can we use SMS to automate some drip campaigns? So if you are a Maropost user, I'm sure you're using our journeys to achieve drip campaigns for your emails. And I think looking forward facing, we would love to also include the ability to trigger SMS campaigns within our journeys. In the current state, it's not something that we would offer using journeys, but it is something that you can accomplish if you're able to set up yourself using our open API. But that definitely is something that we would love to keep in mind for future consideration. And for those of you that have submitted this question, we would love to get in touch to better understand your use cases and see what we could do if we were to build this out into our journeys feature. So I have another question that came in that is, what is the rate of deliver per segment and what throughput limitations are there? Okay, so I assume by the deliver rate per segment, so sending right now SMSs is done to SMS lists. We do not have the ability to send it to segments yet. And the delivery rate is 1 message per second. Keep in mind, this is our delivery to downstream providers. We are configuring a 15 messages per second throughput and a 15-minute queuing window. So what does this mean? This means within 15 minutes, your account can process up to 13,500 messages in one go. So we have another question here. Is there any best practices around words to use and not to use in SMS messaging? I'm trying to know what actions and words stand out best and to get responses and conversions around clicking our links. This is a great question. So definitely words to use is having a global stop and a global help are definitely two SMS words that we suggest every account to be using. In terms of words not to use, I think it's more important to ensure that you're selecting the right keyword that associates to the right action and making sure that you're making them unique enough so that you can sort and filter through and make sense of what lists that you're gathering. Would definitely love to take it offline and understand some of the campaigns that you're currently running and help work through what words would work best for you. It's obviously a very confusing experience if you were to use the word mobile keyword stop and it actually is a subscribe. So trying to keep them short and simple so customers aren't texting you back a paragraph, but also keeping them relevant to the action that they are associated to. that's a pretty broad answer and some pretty general best practices, but would love to take it offline and learn a bit more about what you're trying to achieve so we can give you a bit more specifics. Any more questions? Question about pricing. So in the follow-up email that I will be sending out, we will be offering a discount for anyone who has attended our SMS webinar. So you can look forward to the discount in there, as well as what you can do to learn more about pricing and get started. Okay, wow. That was a great amount of questions. I think we got through all of them today. So if there are any questions that come up after today's session or any questions that I see that I happen to miss, I definitely will include all questions that were submitted today along with their associated answers in our follow-up email. This follow-up email will also include the recording of today's webinar and any other supportive material that we can have that we have available to help you get started and achieve some of your SMS marketing strategy goals. With that being said, thank you everyone for attending today. I really appreciate your participation and engagement, and I hope that you've left with some knowledge better on how you can leverage SMS in your marketing strategy and campaigns. Would just like to mention again before we sign off that there will be a 2-question survey at the end of this webinar that would really appreciate everyone completing if you can. So looking forward to talking to you all, and thank you again for your time. Have a great day.